Dear students, I am Professor Jinesh Shah, hereby presenting one more video of Fundamentals of Marketing Management, Unit 4, Chapter 2, Ethical Issues in Marketing Research. During this video, you will be getting the concept of ethical issue in marketing research, that is, what is the meaning, what are the contents, ethics for respondent or customers, ethics for owners or client, ethics for researcher. Let us go with the first definitions or meaning. So, according to W.K.Frankena, when we speak of ethics as related to marketing research activities, we are dealing with the judgment that certain types of research activities are misappropriated. According to Karison, we can collect the information for research because general public continue to cooperate during our interview. Our acceptance by the public is main obvious tool. We will be out of the business without them, on which our business stands. So, from the above definitions, which concepts have been concluded? So, research activities must be done within the boundaries of the law in the manner of appropriation, means whatsoever law has been decided within that surrounding, the activity must have been done. Research activity must be done in the ethical way. No unethical issues must be involved as far as research activity is concerned. The collection of the data must be remain only and only for the research and not for the personal utilization or for any other purpose or for any professional utilization also. The cooperation of the general public is compulsorily required. Then and only then the strategic and the formal research and proper research can be carried out. If the interest of the general public diversifies, either of the business will be feeling very much difficulties for the sustainability in the market. So, focus of the general public must be maintained, interest of the general public must be maintained towards the research. It must not be diversified. Let us go with that. Contents of ethical issues in marketing research. So, following matters are some problematic that create confusion regarding code of ethics. So, here certain situation which may generate the confusion. Likewise, can client be given permission to disclose the name of other persons even though the project is prepared and finished by the researcher? That will be the question mark. Researcher firm handles the project in direct competitive position on behalf of the customers, which is more difficult. Are there different codes of ethics for the study of different customers? Means for different customers there are variations. Is it been found out? Is it fair to ask simple questions to second customer without taking consent from previous customer? Is it fair for the researcher to use the questions for other client who is decided for somebody else? And how far the code of ethics is fair if the researcher uses the gift items for the business purpose? Means if the gifts and all that things are being provided to the customers, how far it will be fair? There will be again the question mark. Next title, ethics for respondent or customers. Actual purpose must be of research, means whatsoever researcher has been carried out any activity within the customers, the main and foremost purpose must be of research and not the collection of data only. Whatsoever activities has been carried out by that person, it must be having the centralized area of research. So, in this context, Chamber of Commerce research work of many firms, means they are doing research on many firms, but not for commercial purpose. This type of code is essential to prevent the damage to the party during the research work. It is compulsory. Then identity must be protected. Means whatsoever respondent is provided the information, the source and the identity of that respondent must be remain secret. It must be kept secret. It must not be disclosed among anyone. Ultraviolet ink. Recently, project director of research was requested in advance to use ultraviolet ink on questionnaire during the correspondence. For this, the reason was given that it is necessary to verify the information given by the respondent. So when confirmation is expected, verification is required, then such type of activity is been carried out by the person. Hidden tape recorders. So when wholesale purchaser are going to be detailed investigated by personal interview regarding purchase, attraction, management of marketing research, are given powers to use hidden camera and tape recorders. That means they are unknowingly recording the informations of the customers or the respondent. Here the respondent won't be having any type of information that they are being recorded. It is unfair. One way mirror, when product of garment is launched in the market and management wants to develop that product line, then customer should be observed while tearing that garment whether he feels comfort or not. Means they are been observing towards the customers, and whatsoever mirror reflection of that person is there and of that person observation, they are been kept under watch or under observation. It is also unfair practice. Fake long distance call. So some customers are very busy officers of the company. So when they are getting the call, they are been thinking that such person who is making a call is sitting, that means having a far distance or huge amount of distance. But sometimes it may not be there. Nearby area, that person is making the call to that person. So whether this type of practice should be considered breach of ethics or not, that is also under consideration. Next, fake research firm. So a research study was conducted by the marketing research management under the title of fake company. Means they are creating one company and they are collecting data and information and they are doing research. Ultimately, after the fulfillment of the purpose, there won't be having any type of existence of that company. They are been generated for a time being purpose only for conducting research. That's it. Right to choice. Customers are free to take the decision whether to get in the study or not. They must not be enforced. Right of safety. Customers have a right to be protected physically and mentally and not to be identified. Means their information must remain secret, as if we have been gone through in the previous points. They must not get disclosed among anyone. Right to be informed. Customers have right to obtain all the information regarding research. Still there are circumstances where the information is given keeping bias or prejudice. So information should be kept in record, means record proof must be maintained. Likewise, whatsoever customer are providing the information, whether the same informations are utilized or some corrective manners or some overlapping manners have been utilized, that must be verified. Right of privacy. Right of privacy is more important among all the other ethics regarding marketing research. So whosoever person is making or is taking part in the research, the information of such persons must be kept secret. They must not be disclosed among anywhere. Next question. Likewise, customers ethics for owners or client. Confidentiality. Now in present age, whatsoever information have been provided by the customers, they must be remain confidential. Client will use the research and information, and researcher firm should keep the matter secret. Some researchers compare the relation between client and researcher with doctor and patient or advocate and client, etc. Unqualified researcher, when client hands over the research work to researcher which is out of the researcher skill, the researcher should be informed as medicated in the ethics that research work allocated is based on specific method or technique which is out of his skill. Means the said person does not possess such type of skill. Then ownership of information. So the research work done by the researcher, its analysis and conclusion derived on that basis is on behalf of the client. So client is the owner of all that work, because he is doing the work on behalf of client. It is not his own information, it is not his own data. So in this regard, the ethics fixed by American Marketing Association in that without permission of original client, a researcher could not use that information again for any other purpose. If it is permitted, the expense for collecting the information should be shared between both the clients. Unnecessary research. So according to Code of Ethics, doctor and advocate cannot use unauthorized medicine and legal method. There is no such type of code of ethics or principles for researcher firm. As a result, a researcher earns the profit by recording or by recommending the projects. So they are earning the profit, they are earning the monetary reward, which are unfair and economically problematic. In fact, it is a professional duty of the researcher to point out the potential customer that the expense regarding his type of project is unauthorized. And last but not least, presentation of data. So according to Tull and Hawkins, report should be presented in such a way that it creates more perfect effect. Means whatsoever presentation of the report is there, it must be in perfect manner, it must be in such a way so everyone can get the information whatever they want to do, and the report will be accepted and it will be adopted. But if incomplete report is there, it won't be get adopted or accepted. Last concept, ethics for researcher. Here certain titles are there. As per American Marketing Association, the following suggestions should be implied: not to give unauthorized conclusion. Means whatsoever data have been collected, on that basis, after making certain type of analysis, only and only researcher must be provide or must have to give the conclusion. Without taking any type of research work, without taking any type of hard working on that, the conclusion must not be provided. Excessive request. Generally, duties of research officer towards the client are determined by the contract between both the parties. Still, client place unfair demand before the research officer. Likewise, it is pointed out in the contract that only written report will be submitted to the client. Still, client demand for oral report regarding the result of the research work before the public. Second conflict arises when client makes some changes in the research project after the agreement. In fact, when client is going to pay handsome amount, means if more amount is provided by them for the research project, the researcher should consider the request of the client for making some changes. So if more amount has been provided or paid by the that client, it can be accepted, it can be modified in requisition form. Stick to promises means a promise is given by the client to pay the expenses after completion of the research project, but if the amount is not paid, it creates the conflict. So if the said person has been promised, then it must be fulfilled. Availability of funds. Researcher should invite the client for the discussion regarding the limits of research budget. Without knowledge of budget, if researcher implement the research proposal, the expenses will be beyond estimate or research will be under the limit of budget on a small scale. Means whatsoever research is been carried out, it must be considered, it must be taken into consideration as far as budget is concerned. Because without having the efficient budget amount, the research work can't be succeeded, can't be carried out, can't be fulfilled. So according to the investigation of Stephen McDonnell, around 40% respondent customers believe that the word research survey is for concealing the same information. 25% respondent believes that research investigation is an attack on privacy, so they are not responding the person or researcher, while 35% have such experience that in research work many questions are asked on personal matters also. So that is what is about the chapter. That's all, dear students. All the best.